And so that's just a SERP. So when I say search engine results page or SERP, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Okay. And actually, while we wait on that, we're going to go ahead and open it up for Q&A for a second. Does anyone have any questions right now? Yeah, go ahead, John.
Yeah. Like after the paid ads, you've got like 3, and then you've got the next list has the map.
Right.
Like an address with them. What's the difference?
It's a great question. And we'll get into it a little bit more. But basically, Google also has a local search engine. You know, we talked about the video search engine, the images search engine. They also have a local search engine that returns just local results based on address and telephone number and categories and things like that. So what they, you know, when I Googled Matthew McConaughey and it had organic, like what I would call universal if I had the example I showed you, but just the normal search results, then it inserted the news, and then it inserted photos up top. Every once in a while, Google will insert their results from their local search engine. Does that make sense? And you used to be able to actually get to the local search engine by clicking up there where you saw videos, it would say local. And you could actually click on that search engine and do a search for a local company. They've taken that out as of about 6 months ago, and we really don't know why they took it out, and we don't know if it's coming back. I can't imagine that it's not coming back, but we don't absolutely know that for sure. So I'm going to go ahead and move on without this. So AdWords, which is Google's advertising platform, versus SEO, versus search engine optimization. Those are the only 2 ways to market on search engines. See, thank you. Only 2 ways to market on search engines. Okay, there's search engine optimization and there's advertising. With Google, it's AdWords. So, AdWords. AdWords, when someone does a search on Google, 2 to 15% of the time they're going to click an ad. Does that make sense? And then there's been tons of different studies done on this. It's kind of hard to track. What they do is they sit people down and they look at a heat map of where their eyes look at when they do search results. Some people claim that it's 2 to 15% of the time that people click on ads. Some people say, you know, it's probably someone crazy out there says like 20%, and some people say it's even less than that. It's anywhere from 2 to 15%. You can probably take that to the bank and be okay with that. The other 70% of the time, they're going to click on an organic listing. And it's just the way it goes. How many of us in here trust advertising? None of Jim, right? Jim does advertising. 95% of people, they'll look at advertising, but it doesn't mean that they trust it. They don't trust a company that does advertising because they've been taken so many times. Does that make sense? And that was like a Pew search result, or not search result, publication that I read, where people just don't trust advertising. I mean, advertising still works because they'll still give you a shot, obviously, or we wouldn't all be here. But 95% of the time, people just don't trust it. So it makes sense that 2 to 15% of the time, people are only going to click on ads, okay? And then 70% of the time, people are going to click on an organic search result because people, for whatever reason, they don't understand about SEO or search engine optimization, which I get. They don't know that people are trying to game the system, as it were, but they think that Google just decided this A is the best company, B is the best company, C is the best company. And they just kind of trust Google and just go along with what Google said. And sometimes they'll look at, 2 to 3 different other people on Google, but they really do take Google's word for it. 95% of people don't go past the first page. So that kind of tells you. I think in AdWords, advertising through search engines can get very, very expensive. And we talked about the $50 per click. It can run up really quick, especially if you're not taking full advantage of that traffic. If you have them go to their home, if you have them go to your home page, the home page may not be the best place for them to go, and then you're asking them to kind of look around on your website. You got to kind of optimize. AdWords gets kind of confusing. But the one thing for AdWords or for any search engine advertising in general is that it's very quick. You get up that day. You can set a budget and set your advertising and get up that day and run it, and that's it. With SEO, it does take time. It's going to take a couple of months for it to really start to get going. But so those are just kind of some of the pros and cons of pay-per-click. Let's talk about SEO. They get 70% of clicks. People trust Google as an authoritative source, so when you show up in that organic, there's a trust transfer that takes place there. The really cool thing that I like about SEO, pay-per-click is just like every other type of marketing out there. When you are advertising with TV, As soon as you quit paying them money, your advertisement's gone, right? When it comes down to radio, when you quit paying for radio, it's gone, right? Same thing with billboards, same thing with anything that you spend money in, it's gone after you pay for it, and that's just how we are. However, with search engine optimization, the reason it takes time to get up there is because people stay up there longer. I've had a client that I worked with he was in a smaller market, but we worked together for about 2 years ago, and he's still #1 in all of his searches. I mean, he hasn't paid me a dime in 2 years, and he's still making money off of it. It's really the only type of marketing that you can own in any type of advertising or marketing period. I mean, how does that seem pretty powerful to you guys? I mean, to be able to own your own marketing and be able to get money after you're done paying for it. And if you're doing it yourself, you don't have to pay for it, right? All things being equal, search traffic, websites, everything, SEO outperforms pay-per-click. There's more volume in SEO. It's free if you're doing it yourself. It's just better. Now you can talk about, well, I'm paying a company, $5,000 or $6,000 a month, which I mean that is normal. It's not abnormal for people to be paying that much money for SEO. And I'm only getting 10 visits. Well, you could probably make that up in Adwords. But all else being the same, your better ROI is with SEO. But like I said, it does take time. It does take time to get into it. And actually, guys, we're going to take a break for a second. We're going to try to get this running because my presentation is so awesome. I really want you guys to see it. And the bathrooms are out there in the back. There's a water fountain over here as well. And just take a break and chat for a second. We'll try to get this back up and running.